Hello everybody. This is what you do with cheap nasty tripods, by the way. Don't know if you've ever had a cheap nasty tripod. This is what you do with them. They make excellent wind chimes. Anyway, slightly deviating there. What I wanted to do was, I'm actually here, as you can see, just in the front part of my studio. It's a beautiful spring evening. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I just wanted to weigh out some red clay because I want to make up a red iron oxide slip. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just setting up my digital balance here, you see. That's right, and I'm going to put into here some dry red clay. Change it into pounds. That's 6.4 pounds. Just I've had this clay, you see, drying out here for ages, and I thought I'd better do something with that. What I intended I don't know, different ways of making up a red iron oxide slip, but this is the way my dad used to do it. So that's giving us 13.82 pounds. So I'm going to make a note of that. This is a very simple recipe that we always used to use in the pottery at home, and that is simply 75% red iron. Start again. 75% red clay and 25% red iron oxide. Okay, and just mix them together, let them slake down, then sieve them. Okay, and that will give you a red iron oxide slip. Okay, good. So just wanted to do that. It's all interesting stuff, you see, isn't it, really? These are handy little things, actually, these little digital balances. Especially if you're dealing with a quantity of ingredients, so it's awkward to put on one of the small little kitchen, like I use for weighing up. If you're wanting to weigh up, because it weighs up to 40 kilograms, that's over 80 pounds. So it's a useful little addition to your tools, you know. Anyway, actually I had a little, I'm in the middle of just making a few, I got an order to make for some, what do you call them, utensil holder, I think is what you'd call them, for putting all of your wooden spoons, spatulas, what have you, all those sort of things that you have in the kitchen that you use for mixing, for frying, all kinds of wooden spoons, whisks, like a hand whisk. So I'm going to make some tool cylinders so wide. So let's just go there. I've got one more to make. God, I can't tell you how good it is, this weather, isn't it? It's just... c'est magnifique. That's about the only way to describe it. I love it here, especially this time of the day, you know. In the evening, when the sun starts streaming through here, I almost feel like I'm on the beach. It's better than the beach, isn't it? Because you're doing something. You're sitting on a beach, you're doing nothing really, except being bored. I don't know about you, but I don't like sitting on beaches and doing nothing. I like to... if I'm on a beach, I've either got to be fishing, or in a sailboat, or digging a big hole, or... Are you like that? Or maybe you just like to lie there all day, like a whale, or a dolphin, or a seal. So, yeah, I'll just show you what I just made one earlier, and that was really a trial one because I was just trying to get the weight right, and I think I've pretty much got it right. So that's what we're about, making one of them. That's a utensil holder for putting in your wooden spoons and all that caper. Okay, I'm trying to keep this one a little damp because I may just make some marks in it and impress it, you see. So I'll put it back over here. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll just take a measurement of that one just to get this height, so I know roughly what I'm aiming at. That's nearly 9.5. It is about 5.5 wide. Okay, so we're aiming at 9.5 by 5.5. Yes. You know, when you're going to throw, this is actually in weight 3 pounds and a bit. But you want a nice rounded base to your lump of clay, and make sure it's smooth and doesn't have creases in it, okay? Put him on the wheel. Now here's a little tip for you. Just picking up that clay out of the groove here again. Here's a tip for you. Let's suppose you're throwing. You want to do some throwing. So you take your lump of clay, you fling it down on the wheel head, but in the process of doing it, it doesn't go on center. It goes a bit like that, you see. Now, what do you do when that happens? Do you think, oh well, never mind, get the water and you start going around like this? Do you do that? Well, if you do that, the chances are the whole thing will come off the wheel, won't it? You've had that happen before. Okay, so you throw your lump of clay down on the wheel. If it's just a little bit out, like that, okay? Just pull it to the center like that, okay? Before you start centering it. It'll make life a lot easier for you, okay? So I'm going to center this. First thing I need to do though is seal the clay to the wheel head. Okay, that's what I'm about right now with my little pinky small fingers here. I'm where the pot grows out of the wheel head, the root of the pot, get it sealed there. Okay, and once you think you've got it sealed, then what you can do is start to bring the clay up into a cone. And to do that, you're really utilizing this part of your hand here, this part, because you're digging in a little bit there, you see. And maybe I can do it just with my open hands, you see, like that. You see that? How we did that? Okay, you can lift a okay, so we're going to center it down now. This clay is actually reasonably stiff because I recycled it. And not quite as soft, but we'll be okay. We're not complaining. You know, there's soft clay for certain shapes and there's hard clay for certain shapes. All right. Now, if you want to build tall, grow tall, sometimes clay that's a little bit on the hard side will be to your advantage because it will enable the pot to hold up. Imagine if you're doing that with clay that's too soft, trying to build a tall shape, what will happen? It starts to buckle, doesn't it? Low down at the base of the pot, near the bottom, the wall starts to give, because it doesn't have the strength, because it's too soft. So, in certain cases, a little bit of clay being a little bit on the stiff side is not a bad thing. Okay, so let's get back to the function. Utensil holder. We don't want a thin bottom, do we? Because things get put in there. Maybe a bit like the cutlery drainer that we just did. The utensil holder doesn't want to have a thin flimsy bottom. So we're widening. Something to bear in mind, which I've shown you before with the 7 or 8 steps to making a cylinder. When you're opening out your cylinder and you're establishing the base and you're widening it out, you really want to widen it out wider than what the finished cylinder is going to be. It's not a bad tip, that, I think. Okay, so we've got the inside now nice and flat. We've widened it. Okay, what we're now going to do is we're going to, you see what I'm doing? I'm just pushing it like that, you see, and making it a cone shape, slightly conical. Alright, now we're going to start lifting. So before we lift, we push in and we establish like a groove here. We push in, so we're pushing in with the outside fingers, which is creating a narrower point. Okay? And then we're lifting upwards. Now keep it conical, you see, when you lift. That's a really good tip, you know, keep it conical. Don't keep it going upwards to like that. Going down again, digging in at the base here, grabbing some clay. See my hand posture, thumbs joined. Okay, looks like a heart shape, doesn't it? If you look, you see? Okay, now we're going to take that clay and let's let it come up. Make sure the clay is well lubricated enough so you can take the clay right up to the top. Okay, when you get to the top here, hold it for a few seconds and then take your fingers away. Don't go on up and run over the lip, okay? I see that a lot. People, they run over the lip of the pot. They take the clay up to the top, but instead of stopping just there, they run over the lip. Then you get an uneven lip. Okay. Let's start again. Now let's pull up again. Keep your speed of lift adequate because the water that you need is just a little bit higher up the pot. Okay, so don't be too slow with your lifting or you'll dry up. Okay, move it up a gear, and then the water that you'd put onto the pot, which is still there, because remember the water you put onto the pot runs off the pot, doesn't it? Gravity says it runs away, it goes down. So if you take too long about your lift, you'll find all your water's left and has already gone down. So there's a relationship between the speed that the wheel is going here and the speed that I'm lifting here. So you want to get them in sync. What did I say that was? 9.5? Okay, so we want to make sure you've got your clay watered, lubricated. Alright, inside and out. What you don't want to do is hit a dry spot halfway up your lift. Hold it a second and off. Okay, now we're just checking the form. We want to eyeball it, make sure it's nice and straight. This is the thing you see about making cylinders and making them so they're straight. So you're training your eye, you see. Training your eye. Okay, we've got approximately an inch or 3/4 of an inch to go. I'm just going to keep this in at the top, okay? Right, now watering again like this, you see. So each finger, it runs down the water, and then spread the water a bit like that. Looking for the straight line. Now the idea is, you see, if I hold that there, now that's perpendicular. You can see down here, or rather I should say about here, it's slightly wider there, isn't it? Well, if we just gently collar him like that, It's okay, don't worry, we're not engineers. Okay, what's the width of that? Right. This is going to have a rolled rim on it. So I'm just very gently tapering just this top edge here, because I'm going to roll it. The reason for tapering is that you don't get quite such a big roll, you see. So roll it over like that, and then follow it through and down like that, and then tuck it in. Make sure your rolled rims are nice and round. Okay. Okay, that's just about it. Right, next, let's take our throwing stick. Maybe you don't use your throwing stick for the same job, but if you have a throwing stick, okay, like this, you'll be able to not only use it finishing the base of the pot, but also you can use it on the side of the pot. Okay, now if you're gonna rib the side of the pot with your throwing stick, okay, you don't want to hold the stick like that, okay, when you do it, because you have too much of a contact area, and if you're not careful, it'll take it out of your hand like that. Okay, so as you are working the wall of the pot, incline that like that, you see, at an angle, and work it at an angle, you see, you'll find that that's easier. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the bottom of the pot, and I'm going to push with my fingers the bottom of the pot, push the clay against this stick. Okay, so I'm going to start down there. I'm pushing the clay to the stick. You notice my inside hand is coming up. Alright. Make sure the edge of your throwing stick doesn't have any ridges or grooves in it, because they will be then transferred to the pot. Right, now using the angle, you see, down here, I'm putting the bevel on the base of the cylinder. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Make sure you bevel the bases of your pot. Let's just take one step away from the wheel to have a sideways squint at it. Is it looking good? Thumbs up.
I think it's looking not too bad. La 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 la.
All right. So whether you're making a utensil holder or whatever you're doing, there are many forms that begin as cylinders, and it is one of the key shapes that, if you're a potter or you are a want-to-be potter, you'll need to know how to make. Okay, now if there's water down the bottom, we'll just use the sponge on the stick. You see, that's where a sponge on the stick is useful, isn't it? leather. See, really, if you can make that, it's very easy once you've got the ability to throw that, to then belly it out, make it into a vase, waste it, make it into another kind of like a wasted vase, or whatever shape. Once you can make that, the rest, a lot of the rest is fairly downhill, really. Okie dokie. Are we in the picture?
Are we in the picture?
It seems we are, that's good. Okay, we're going to lift this pot off the wheel. First thing we're going to do is to cut it. So we're going to have the wheel revolving very slowly. We're going to take this with thumbs down, and we're going to take the wire slowly but confidently through the base of the pot. We're then going to locate the place where we're going to put the pot. Do you ever lift your pot off the wheel and then think, oh, I've got nowhere to put it? Okay, so we're going to get down like this. Okay, you're going to clasp it like this, maximum surface area, and lift him and put him there. And there he is. Now sometimes with certain shapes, when you want to lift them off, you can put a square of newspaper over the rim and just touch it down, and that keeps the air inside and stops the pot deforming. But we didn't do it in that case with that one. There he is. So, learn how to make cylinders. Yeah. So there it is. There it is. Okay, folks. Well, visit my website, simonleachpottery.com. We've got tools, wheels, t-shirts. I don't know, bits and pieces. I'm always getting new ideas about things that we can put there and things that might be of interest. So, yeah, DVDs is something I'm almost ready to start making some DVDs, which will be on certain things, which will be not things I've made on YouTube, and they won't be material that I will upload onto YouTube. It'll just be for the DVDs. So if that's something that interests you, go there, keep a lookout. They're not there yet, but I'm getting around to it slowly. It's my intention. Yeah. What else? Yeah, also if you go there, you'll also see about the Powwow webcam pottery classes. So if you're interested in having a workshop, maybe you're interested in having some interactive tuition with me online, maybe you can't get to a workshop, maybe you're in another country, maybe you're in Argentina, maybe you're in New Zealand, maybe you're in Australia, maybe you're in Russia. Wherever you are, it doesn't actually matter if you've got a webcam. And if you go to the Powwow website, you will see my classes. The time will be indicated in the particular time zone where you are. It will show. Okay, so wherever you are out there in the world, you can join a class. So I encourage you to do that if that's something you feel might be helpful to you. Yeah. Okay, well that's it. All that remains to be said is KP your FB. Keep practicing your function with beauty. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.